Groovy.
Hey everybody, this is Nuke. I'm here with Itty Bitty.
Hey.
And we are doing this as a final send-off for the Syndicate. The Syndicate is closing down.
So sad.
It is sad, but it's time. And what I want to make this is kind of a retrospective of what the Syndicate was, what it meant to me, probably what it meant to Itty, and leave you with some final thoughts and some final statistics, because you know I'm all about the stats.
The numbers.
The numbers, to show you how far we've come. So, it's been 8 years since I started this.
Dear Lord.
It'd be going into the 9th year if we weren't ending it in this month of May in 2016. I started this in June of 2008. We had a very young son at that time.
A very young son.
This was probably done to escape the bonds of fatherhood and responsibility.
It was, because I remember we would have the baby monitor. And guess who the baby monitor was by? And guess who had to go upstairs when the baby was crying?
I'm pretty sure it was me. I think I did all
the
that.
The food supply. That's who had to go upstairs.
I was not the food supply.
No, you were not the food supply.
So anyway, already off topic.
That's the way it's always been.
Yes. So, everything started with Warhawk. Warhawk was my first real foray into multiplayer online games in a real sense, in a competitive sense. We were playing Neverwinter Nights on PC well before that, and that was our game of choice. We coded, we built servers, we built worlds, we role-played, we did a lot of cool things in the D&D world.
Yeah.
And then we got away from stuff. Neverwinter Nights got a bit older, drama ensued, moved away from stuff, and then we became... I've always been playing games since I was a kid. I mean, I was playing Pong, I was playing Atari 2600, I grew up on that stuff.
Yeah.
And
I was scarred as a child, and that's why I never got involved with video games. And then I remember distinctly, I was older. I was probably in 6th or 7th grade, and a friend of mine was always playing Mario. And I suck so badly at platformers.
She still sucks at Mario. Everybody.
Yes, I do. I have no rhythm, no timing whatsoever. And so I was convinced that I would just never play video games.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
completely.
And so to ensure I could continue to play on a regular basis, I worked on Itty for years to make sure she finally enjoyed video games, at least to a similar level as me, so we would play together, and therefore get to play more video games and not feel bad about not spending time with my wife / girlfriend, whenever that was. So that all worked out. But anyway, so Warhawk, I had joined a few different clans, and there was always drama. Things tended to break apart and fall apart.
Yeah, pretty messy there.
Even Seven, I was in Seven's clan, and that did the same kind of thing. It just didn't hold together, and I realized that if I wanted to create an environment that I wanted to play in, I was probably going to have to create it myself.
You want the job done right, do it yourself.
Yeah, I hate that, because I always seem to have to do it. So we created the Syndicate as a gaming clan for Warhawk. The Syndicate name coming from a guild we had created in Neverwinter Nights that was pretty epic in its own right. It had a ton of people participating, did some badass
we had some
stuff.
Great fun in
So
that.
anyway, the idea behind the Syndicate was we were neither good nor bad. Everything was just business.
It was business.
It was business. And that was...
And we were the only clan house that had a gambling casino in it.
That's right. And then Neverwinter Nights, we had a gambling casino. And if you wanted to pay for our support and our protection, air quotes, you could get that. If you didn't, you had trouble.
Yes.
So we tried to bring that same flair a bit to the PS3 clan that we were creating. And so in June of 2008, I created it. I had nobody in it.
I hadn't joined yet.
No.
Because I took a look at it and I said, I don't know if this clan's going to be around. Let's see if it gets off the ground.
Nice. So at that time, you really didn't do your own website or anything.
No.
That wasn't a big thing. What you had was you had the PlayStation forums and you had the Warhawk sub-forums under that. And if you had a clan, that was where you basically created stuff and chatted. So made my own signature and started putting stuff out there and saying, hey, you want to join? I created a fake account.
There was a couple fake accounts.
No, there's only one.
Just the one?
There was just one. And an awesome PlayStation name, by the way, Freaking Genius. If I didn't have Nuke Warm, I would have picked Freaking Genius. By the way, I wasn't always Nuke Warm. I was originally Drakian, and it was a combination of two names in the sky. You had Draco, and you had Hyperion. I made Drakian, and no one could pronounce it. And so I gave up because I wanted a name that was easy to pronounce because having to correct people all the time was annoying.
And then you wanted the name Lothar, King of the Mole People, but that was a bit too long.
No, I didn't really. No.
Okay.
Your memory sucks.
It does. People, I don't listen to what this man talks about.
No, but she makes up her own reality in her head, clearly. So I came up with Nuke Warm because it's off of Lukewarm. Haha, Nuke Warm, blah, blah, blah. It sounded good. It wasn't taken, and that's what I've stuck with. So anyway, that's what I went with. And we made a Freaking Genius account, and for a little while, I was talking back and forth with myself to show that there was some interest. Because I don't know how to start it otherwise. Didn't have any friends that played. It didn't, nobody in the circles that I ran with played video games. But it worked. Started getting some pretty cool people. One of the biggest ones that helped grow the Syndicate at the start was Black Belt 66. He was my right-hand wingman forever in Warhawk as we were growing. And unfortunately, as we started to expand into other games past Warhawk, after I think a year or so, he moved on because he wanted to stay with Warhawk exclusively. And so he decided it wasn't for him anymore. But Warhawk days were great days. We started off a bit competitive. We were doing big matches with other clans. We would basically have what I deemed inters all the time. Mm-hmm. We had intras and inters. You had your intra events, the events we had together. We'd all get on the same team, or we'd have small matches against each other. And then we had the inters. I mean, the inters were serious. We even had practices before the matches, practicing strategies, how to do better at Warhawk, and we won a couple, we lost a couple. We even got into game battles.
We were involved with that for a bit.
We had to do some recording of matches to make sure things were clean. And that's kind of where I started recording some of my stuff. I bought recording equipment and everything. Yeah. The hardest thing about that was our clan was really well situated. We had great people, very dedicated. We'd show up for matches, and the enemy teams would never show up with enough people.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing because you'd go like, we're going to do a 16 on 16, and we come with 16 and 2 backups. And they came with 10 or 7 or 5, and it ended up that we'd have to give them some players, and then we just split the difference, and it just was... So it was, what I realized was, we were a unique organization, in no small part to the types of people we were bringing on, and the leadership involved. They were very good people, and, yes, we've had our share of drama through the years as well, but all in all, we've had a hell of a great set of young adults and older adults coming through.
Young kids.
Some young kids.
Some young kids that grew up with us.
Grew up with us, which is
oh my
scary.
God.
You look at Shred and you look at Skills, and these were Skills was just this punk kid that wanted to join and joined. And the first time I got to see him in action, he was cheating in Warhawk, and we had this big rule against cheating, so I kicked him out. And they kicked him out a couple other people too at the same time. He was the only one that came back and asked for extra chances and all this other stuff, and he proved himself, and it was so awesome. And Skills has always been a big part of, what
Big part of the clan.
a big part of the clan, a big part of the who we are and what we stand for and what it means to be a sinner. Mm-hmm. It was always fun to create the little I don't know what to call them, but the play on words. So we'd have Syntopia instead of Utopia. Cinnabon with this SYN,
Oh, they were endless.
They were endless. We had tons of fun with them. We made Hitler Hates the Sin video.
One of the best.
Love that one. We had the Sin games.
Yes.
Which unfortunately, if you check on YouTube right now, it doesn't have any audio because it's
really lame without the audio.
It is, and I don't have the original, but G has the original and put it on Facebook, so there are still ways to see the S games, but it was one of our bigger productions.
Some really
some good
funny
commercials,
made up commercials in there.
So if you know Warhawk, it's funnier, but it's still kind of fun to watch. We have a bunch of other videos. We have our viral video where everybody danced, and no one knew why I was making them do weird stuff and all these different things until put it together. And it was like a pretend virus hit the PlayStation Network, like on New Year's or Christmas or whatever day it said, and it made everybody dance to "What Is Love" and you do this thing. And what's hilarious is it didn't, everybody in the clan watched it, and then later on the PlayStation Network went down because of the big hack, and it got tons of views.
Yeah.
And so
it got over 1,000 views.
Yeah, for us that's really good because we were average like 12 views on things. So no, it was really, really quite cool. And so we used to do a lot of fun things, and we used to try a lot of things, and it was a different world where clans were a big thing and focuses. So we went into Resistance 2 and we met some new people, and we went into Killzone 2 and we met some new people, and we just had a blast in all of these games. And continued to just strengthen and grow, where we were 4 strong, then 8 strong, then 20 strong, and at our strongest we had ended up getting 80. We had 80 people in the Syndicate at one point.
Yeah.
And I
remember that.
And I would say 80% of them were active.
Oh yeah, highly active.
We were filling out rooms of every type of game. We were overflowing on, things. And
I know, like the Call of Duty, we would put up events and we would fill both teams.
Yep. We'd be able to do like a 10-on-10 in a large room.
Yeah, and then we had people waiting to get in.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And so that was when, we were in our heyday and we were recruiting like crazy and we were as active as could be. And what was interesting is as we aged, we got more private. We got more selective. We toned down the recruiting to almost nothing. And that's actually one of the reasons we've declined a bit over the years. And it's hard to recruit for a clan anymore because clans are kind of old school now. They don't, they're not as needed as they once were.
I agree.
And most games don't even have clan support like they used to. A lot of games just don't even bother with it anymore. It's just play with your friends kind of thing, which is essentially what the Syndicate has become. A great group of friends that doesn't actually need any of the clan structure to still be friends and to play.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why the transition to Crackball is very important to me, because I feel like this will enable us to find more friends and grow our community that way, shedding the clan structure, shedding the, you are higher than this person, and this is what you need to do to stay in, and all the stats and the pomp and circumstance that goes with it. Although that was fun, for a number of years, it's just not what applies anymore. So
we're changing with the times.
So I don't know how deep to go into all the details of how the clan evolved. I'm going to throw up a couple things. Here's our first symbol. So as you can tell, I'm no great artist. What do you think?
I would not disagree with you on that one.
No. So
stick figures. That's about the extent of it.
Yes. My stick figures used to be really good in high school when I had all that free time.
True.
So I had found, I knew I wanted to go with the Syndicate as the name, and so I figured an S was a cool thing to do, and so I found this very stylized S. Made it yellow. Don't know why I made it yellow. Yellow was the color I picked for the clan. I think because so many other people had all these other colors. It was blacks and reds and grays and blah, blah, blah. And yellow was like
something that stood
brighter
out.
and stood out. Probably like a target so they could shoot you better or something. I don't know. So this is the symbol. And it was fine for a while. We used it on all our early signatures. Here it was. Yeah. And then one day I kind of looked at it and I went, why does that look familiar?
Where have I seen this before?
So quick internet search uncovered very quickly and easily that yeah, it was it was a very similar font to the Nazi SS insignia, which was just a slightly different color. And so, mortified, and Itty probably remembers the night it happened because I was like freaking out.
Yeah,
I had to go into
was
overdrive
freaking out.
to change it. So I changed it to this, which was a tribal S with a little circle and a kind of
Sweep across the
a
bottom.
sweep across the bottom and some fancy background circle I picked. I don't know why the symbols are...
I like the tribal.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was impossible to recreate.
Yes,
though,
it was.
on my own with anything. And so again, not being an artist, it's very hard for me to reproduce the symbols for the different media I'd have to create or any in-game things that you wanted to do. And it was like, okay. So we kept that for a long time. And then we moved on to... I came up with a symbol that was not a font, finally, or an enhancement, and it was...
It was a bunch of shapes.
It was a bunch of shit. Well, it was a bunch of curves, together. And I thought it was really cool looking. It kind of looked like almost an infinity symbol, or a yin and yang symbol. And this was the S we've had for a very long time. And then one day, I think it was Kant, I can't remember, mentioned that it looked like bananas. And ever since then, all I could see was bananas in my symbol on Battlefield. All I could see was bananas. It was bananas, bananas, bananas. And so, yeah, we had a banana symbol for a long time. And then when we decided to move on to the Rogue Syndicate,
it was time for a new symbol.
It was time for a new symbol.
It was not comprised of bananas.
Fort did an amazing job of coming up with ideas for the Rogue Syndicate symbol. And so between he and I, we kind of melded onto what you know now as the final Rogue Syndicate symbol, which I think looks pretty badass. It's a pretty sweet symbol. And so that was the evolution of the different symbols we had.
So we started out with the Nazi symbol.
Yes. Well, it wasn't a Nazi symbol.
And then we moved on to the
tribal.
Mm-hmm. We were getting in touch with our primal urges.
There you go.
and then
we got hungry.
Then we got hungry and had the banana symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And
then we went back to a little bit more of a wild wolf symbol.
I can't believe I just did that.
Me neither. I ruined the entire video.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's the history of the symbols. So one thing I need to mention also is why we had to change to the Rogue Syndicate, or why we ever changed away from the Syndicate in the first place. And it turned out during the height of our popularity, when we had a tremendous amount of people and we were running through all these different games and everything, we were showing up very high on Google searches for Syndicate and gaming. And there was another, and there still is, another, I guess, PC gaming clan called the Syndicate. Now, let's be honest, there's a ton of clans, quote-unquote, called the Syndicate, and they're flash in the pans that go here, and they disappear, and, but ours was lasting for years. And
we were more than just a flash in the pan.
Absolutely. And so the Syndicate proper, and they say proper because they had trademarked the name Syndicate, sent me a notification that they were threatening legal action if we
A
didn't
cease and desist order.
using the name The Syndicate, because we kept showing up right under them on Google searches. And unfortunately, being who we were, it's like I wasn't going to fight that. It really sucked. I was very upset. So we changed for quite a long time to just The Sin, because everyone in the Syndicate knew what The Sin meant. We knew where we came from. We figured we didn't need an identity any better than what we had, which in lots of ways was true. But over the years, new people coming in really didn't have an association with The Sin. It didn't mean anything to them. And so that's why there were some attempts at changing our name that never went anywhere until finally, we moved to the Rogue Syndicate, kind of bringing back the Syndicate. And adding a little bit to it. So it was trying to gain back what we had lost in a small way. So that's kind of the history of the name, of where we came from: Syndicate, The Sin, and the Rogue Syndicate.
Yep.
We made a lot of alterations to how the clan worked year after year after year. We went for more complex, getting different points for different things. We used to have to take pictures of the ends of the game, screenshots, and do tallies. I remember Rambo doing that and I doing that. And you couldn't write down all the information. And then we made it simpler and simpler over the years, to the point where now you just record who was there at an event and you get some base points for things. So it became less of a competition, and I think that was a less interesting to some people. It was just easier to hold events, which was more interesting for other people because they wanted to hold events. And then we used to have main games, so you had, really here are the 3 main games we're going to play a lot, and then we'll have some side games or whatever. And we kind of moved away from that because so many people wanted to play different games.
Some other stuff, so we decided to open it up a bit.
Yeah. And we had other games we wanted to get into, so you had your Resistance 2 and your Killzone 2, and then you had Homefront and Call of Duty and then Battlefield.
I miss Homefront.
And you just had so many different games out there, and then you had Mod Nation and Gran Turismo, and and then we started going, oh well, maybe we should make some different segments. So I started grouping our fighting games into the Sin Knockouts and the racing games and the Sin Race Club. And then ultimately just moved the shooters into gunslingers and everything else into crusaders, just to try to simplify it.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of complexity that was probably more interesting to some people, but it was a tremendous amount of work for me when I was trying to calculate stats and keep things going.
I
would
remember
spend
that.
Saturdays and Sundays, entire weekends
weekends
spent trying to update signatures, because we used to have signatures that would flip to 3 different screens: your main signature, then to your stats screen, and then to your trophy screen, because I implemented trophies.
And every time you brought a new game in, then you had to search
retrofit everything. Oh my God. It was a mess, and all the different trophies, and the trophy symbols for the games were some of the best trophy images you could get from the game itself. And I pulled that in. So here's an interest. Here, let me throw out some different stats. In our 8 years, we have had 1,085 events.
Wow.
Intra events. That doesn't count the annual tournaments or the inters or anything. 1,085 events.
That's a lot of video game playing right there.
It's a lot of video game playing.
And you were at most all of those.
I was at a lot of them. So the Gunslingers, we had 579 shooter events. That's a vast majority of them. Second place, 221 Crusader events, so just in general, games that don't fit into the first-person genre, or fighting games, or racing games. We had 188 race club events, and we had 97 knockout events. It's too bad. We need some more fighting game events. But that's where we were.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy when you look at it. When you look at it that way. Now, let me throw some other stuff at you. So I'm gonna now. What I didn't do was every time somebody left or quit the clan or whatever, I cleared out their stats and went back to 0. Anytime anyone's left permanently, they've been gone. So I don't have any of those stats. I never kept them. It wasn't worth my time. So what I do have are the stats of who still is in the clan right now, which is the most important thing to me. I would like to note specifically some of the highest number of events that people have been in. So over my 8 years, I have been to 711 events.
Wow.
Itty, you are in second place.
Really?
570 events.
Holy crap.
Fort is in third place
Haha.
with 428 events.
Nice.
So he's not even close to you. He's 150 behind you. You can rub that in his face next time you talk to him. Jay is in fourth place.
Nice.
With 381. Rambo coming in fifth. Wow. He's been slacking for a couple years here.
You know what? It's the baby. The kid.
It's not the baby. The baby's not as old. He's slacking. 270.
Wow.
And then coming in very close. I'm sorry. I screwed up. Green is in fifth place with 291.
Oh.
Rambo's at 270.
Ah.
So Rambo's not even in the top 5. Yeah. Then we have Grim at 212. We have Cant at 210. Punk at 202. Damn. Zatch at 185. Storm at 183. GLP at 161. Harry at 143. Tex at 120. Shred at 103. Now Shred hasn't been in an event in forever. So that shows you how much he was involved at the beginning. Yeah. Vamp with 96, Blue Vayner 91, McLarger Huge at 84, tied with Ninja Ducky at 84, Saint Girl 63.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's some really good stuff.
A lot of, you know what? There's a lot of participation.
Now I will say, Lord is not up there because he was removed at some point and he's been back. So like Lord's stats are down, but Lord would be way up there.
Yeah,
Lord is
he definitely would.
So special shout out to Lord, just because of that.
Let's just make up a made up number for him.
A gazillion.
A gazillion.
Behind you. See the Lord behind Itty. Itty will not be dethroned. So
Lord in third place with a gazillion.
So, all right. In terms of length of time with the Syndicate, this will show you.
You have to take yourself out of the running.
No. I'm. Listen. As the Don, it just turns out I win all the time. That's just how it is. So anyway, I've
been here the longest.
I have. I win. I win with the most points. I win with everything. That's just the way it's going to go. So, again, June of 2008. Next up is Itty. August of 2008. Took her 2 months to decide it was worth her time.
Dude, I needed to see evidence that this clan was going somewhere.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So then Jay is next. He was in November of 2008. Also in November of 2008 is Shred. And then in 5th place in December of 2008, GLP.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have Harry in February of 2009, Rambo in June of 2009, Blue Vayner, and Green in July of 2009. Then we jump all the way to Fort, who was July of 2010.
Wow.
So of the people left after all these years. It feels like
Fort's been with us forever.
Yeah.
And ever.
And ever. Fort, don't feel bad. That's what she says about our marriage, too. So we had Zatch coming in December of 2010. Storm in March of 2011. Grim in April. As well as RX in April of 2011. Cant in May of 2011. Lord in September of 2011. Vamp.
Is that
that's his original?
His original, okay.
Vamp in October of 2011.
Wow.
And then we jump all the way to December of 2012 for Tiger, January of 2013 for Punk and Ninja, and then it kind of goes on from there.
So a lot of people have been with us for a long time.
A long time. I mean, 3+ years for a lot of people.
You must have been doing something right.
We had a great set of people. Well, we had amazing times.
We have a great set of people.
We have. Thank you. I say had in past tense because this is the end for what we've had in the Syndicate. And it's a sweet ending, I think. We haven't gotten to the point where we're so decayed that this is going to be very sad. I think we're transitioning to something that is, very positive. It may not be for everybody, but I hope it is. Because it's the same group of people. It's the same stuff we want to do.
I hope everybody just knows that anytime they want to come hang out, play, you know where we are. And that's what, we've said to a lot of the members, still with us, some without us, have left, whatever. We always leave that door open.
So for
people to come back.
Another good example of why the Sin was so special. We had a Hall of Sin that had some really cool stuff about our people.
Yes.
Fun
to get to know.
And we had trophies that we could hand out for very important things that people had done. I mean, we made trophies that I felt tried to be as meaningful as possible. So I just wanted to go through a couple of the trophies to just give everybody an idea of what it meant. I try not, these did mean something to me, and I thought long and hard about who got these. It's kind of sad.
We had a lot of conversations.
So the highest one I ever gave out was the Sin Honor Award. And that was basically for people that had distinguished themselves beyond all others and considered to be lifetime sinners. So even if they left, they had a special status so they could always come back on the forums. They were never gone. I had a core sinner, that the ones that represent themselves as sinners in everything they do, and they have a long and active history with us. Those are different, but they're very similar in it. We had the Sin Cross. Those were for people that had excellent game skills and helped build our reputation as a good gaming clan. Not necessarily a requirement for our clan, but we appreciated those that had a level of performance above and beyond. We had the Sin Service, which is steady activity and provided significant contributions to the Sin family.
Mm-hmm.
Sintegrity was one of my favorite ones that showed skill, teamwork, and integrity on and off the battlefield. So people that were willing to help others learn within the game, on the forums. We had quite a few people that won this one. I mean, that was the other two that were some of my favorites were the Fearless Sin and the Selfless Sin, and those were directly awarded for things done on the battlefield. So people throwing themselves in front of fire to save a friend, or those that would go after a huge group of people and try to take them out and win. So those were two that were really fun. We had tournament champion and tournament winner trophies. So every year, except for the last 2 years, I'd held an annual tournament that went across every main game that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And if you won one of those tournaments, you got a winner trophy. And if you won the whole thing, your points tallied up between all the games, you won a champion trophy. And those were really fun events. And they became a little harder to run when we had less attendance in the last couple of years, which is the reason I turned them down and turned them off, essentially, is we just didn't have enough people with the different games. And because we had moved away from main game, ideology, it was hard for people to focus around certain games. It was
harder, right.
And then to be honest, a lot of the games made it very difficult to even run a tournament-style game. I mean, you can always do a Call of Duty and do a 1v1. right? You can always do a
Correct.
fighting game, and if you had a racing game or two, that's okay.
Right.
But past that, you started not being able to do...
Like, how would you do a tournament game in, like, a Grand Theft Auto?
Well, I mean, you could do it, but you'd have to pick certain modes and certain things.
Yeah.
And what you ended up finding was people couldn't join a lot. And so you had tournaments being run with only 4, 5, or 6 people. And that's not what we used to do. And so it just didn't rise to the level that I had hoped it would. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up some of those cool aspects of the sin as well. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I just wanted to talk about what the sin has meant to me. Warhawk was the first video game on the console that I played. And man, it took me like 2 years to learn how to play that game competently. Yeah, it was painful. But I understand the people that came into our clan, the support, the camaraderie that they gave to me, the game itself was great. Hands down, my favorite game ever. A lot of love for that game. But if I hadn't had the people I was playing with, I can't say that I would have stuck it out. It was the people that brought me back into the game. It was the people that made me want to suck it up, get better, keep trying. I mean, when I first started playing this game, I could walk forward, and that was about the most I could do. I mean, 2 joysticks and a shitload of buttons, and I was like, oh my god. It was such a learning curve for me. I don't think anybody else could really understand what I went through with that game. But the people that I had to play with gave me so much support. And that's what this clan has truly meant to me. Because after Warhawk, and that was a third-person shooter, then we moved into
Killzone 2.
Killzone 2 and Resistance
2. There's a lot of
and
twos
what other
in there.
twos in there. But, so we moved into first-person shooters, which was a whole new can of worms for me. And once again...
Modern Warfare 2. Sorry. Just remember.
Once again, the people that I was playing with made all the difference to me.
Modern Warfare 2 is where Rambo continuously pissed me off with his knifing. I'm just going to point that out, that I've never been more infuriated at the beginning of a game than Rambo figuring out how to do it so well that no matter what gun I tried to shoot at him, he would knife me. Stupid commando feature in that game. I don't know. Too good. He's too good.
So that's what this clan has always meant to me. And it's interesting for me thinking back on it, reflecting on it. The driving games. Once I started playing the driving games, holy crap. Just this huge learning curve for me. But because I had these great fun people that I was playing with, it kept me coming back. It kept me, hey, I can get better. And sometimes I know they'd go easy on me and maybe let me win and, stuff like that. Encourage me. So for me, I want to give some shout outs for some people who have definitely given me a lot of support. Somebody who's no longer with us, which makes my heart sad. Digital Pepsi. And for those who remember him, he was awesome. I mean, he was a brutally good player. He was. And he took me under his wing and really supported me and cheered me on. And I only ever killed him a couple times. But those were some of my most proud moments. Rambo, definitely, I remember in Call of Duty games, helping me out, giving me support, cheering me on. Fort too, and it means a lot to me because, recently, it's been interesting for me recently with new games that I've been starting to play, like the Overwatch beta, and it probably was starting with some past games before that, but for some reason right now I just really been noticing it, probably because I'm playing different new games right now. So Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted, the Overwatch. It's been interesting to me because I go into these games and I feel comfortable from the beginning with them. I don't feel like I have this big learning curve before I'm comfortable in them. And, when I go back to old games, it's just really cool to me that I'm at that level. And I know that I'm at that level because of the last 8 years of all the video games and all the people that have helped me and supported me, made me laugh, made me kept coming back to play. Without them, I wouldn't be playing video games. Period. So my heart goes out to everybody. And thank you for the last 8 years. And hopefully thank you for all the years to come.
That's so sweet. Except I wasn't named in any of that. Damn it.
I think that goes unsaid.
It always goes unsaid.
There was no pleasure greater than killing you.
Oh no, I think sometimes when you're screen peeking and telling your team what I'm doing or what our team's doing, that was the worst. It's the worst having us on different teams and trying to strategize. It was, one of my favorite things ever was I don't know what game we were playing. We were in the chat room. Rambo was there, and you're talking, and you hear that. Is that a girl?
Oh,
and Rambo goes, "No, that's a lady."
I remember that.
But it was great is that because the gaming world is not friendly to women.
I think it's getting better.
It's getting a little better, but it's still really bad in lots of places. And I think it's getting better because we're surrounded by very good people.
Yes.
People that stick up for the rest of us in the clan.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty cool. I think in a lot of the games, you and I don't play those types of games as much anymore with the more hostile environments. And even if we do, we're probably in a PS4 chat room now. You don't even hear anybody else.
You're insulated.
You're insulated.
You're not as exposed.
So in the same vein as Itty, I want to talk about what the Syndicate has meant to me all these years and who's impacted me the most. And I've said this before, but the Syndicate was created to be my best chance at a gaming utopia, and I think I achieved that over these 8 years, to varying degrees throughout those 8 years, but it has been a wonderful ride. But the reason it's been a wonderful ride are the wonderful people that I have gotten to play with, that I have gotten to meet, that I have gotten to be friends with, and it's all meant so much to me. So I'm gonna name off a few people specifically that I want to just mention because their impact to me has been tremendous. That is not to say that anyone not listed here has made a smaller impact or an insignificant impact. It's just that I want to mention a few people here specifically, and then and then we'll get into everybody in a minute here. So the first person I want to start off with is Rambo. Rambo was the first clan member that joined, was not part of the original crew by any means, but took the sin to heart and made it his own. For a long period of time, he was hosting more events than I was. He was making me look bad. But he was taking a lot of pressure off me because I had been, at the time he joined, I mean, I had been running the clan for a long time at that point, and I won't say it was just by myself, but it was a lot of just myself. And I was getting a little tired, not exhausted, but just a little tired. And his energy coming in was amazing, and his personality was overpowering. We all know how special Rambo is. But he is, and everything he's done for the Syndicate over all these years has meant the world to me, and it probably would not have survived without him. So I can't thank him enough. I could go into a ton of embarrassing stories, but I won't. I just want to thank him very much for everything he's done. Then there's Fort.
Of course.
Fort is, at the same time, similar to Rambo and completely different from Rambo.
But in a much, much nicer way.
Well, of course. That goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So Fort also has been an incredible leader within the Sin for a very long time. He joined us, I believe, from Mod Nation. And everyone has to forgive me. I have a horrible memory. I remember people, but I don't remember specifics of a lot of things. My mind is going in bad ways as I get older. But Fort was... my impression always was Fort was very shy at the beginning. He has a bit of a stutter, so I don't think he was very confident at first. He didn't know us, and he got to know us, and he is one of the funniest goddamn guys I've ever met. I can't wait to meet him in person. He's one of the nicest guys too. I mean, absolutely.
He's always got a smile in his voice,
and he will insult you in the nicest ways. Like, you can't get mad. You just laugh. It's so good. But he was another one who led the Sin for an incredibly long time. Tons of events. Burnt himself out just like Rambo burnt himself out just doing too much. Yes. Even though I warned them not to do as much because I had been through the same stages before. But
the passion that they had for the clan and for the people in the clan
was very real and very powerful. And so, yeah, I can't say enough of what Ford has done. And you see his imprint on the clan everywhere you look. Mm-hmm. Now, someone that's been here a long time.
Long time.
Javen.
Who's been on the earth for a long time.
Poor Jay.
Rambo's not here, so
poor Jay never gets an end to the old. But what's hilarious, Jay gets the last laugh because all the people making old jokes are getting old with him now. They're getting older. Oh, but yeah. So, what can you say about Jay? Jay has been there through everything. Through the ups and downs, good games, the bad games. He buys every game. Let's stick that out there one more time. He has...
Jay's our rock.
He is. He's supported podcasts. He's, suggested doing a lot of new things. He's always willing to try stuff. And, he's again, one of the nicest guys out there. You talk to him about anything. He's got an opinion on everything. But it's always a very calm... Indiana opinion, just, that he's gonna hate it. I said that, but he's just very, very relaxed about stuff. Even when he gets upset about stuff, it doesn't even sound like he's that upset about stuff. So Jay is the best.
Yes.
And that's all I can say is just Jay is the best. So I'm going to move into GLP. Now GLP is again one of the original cast members.
An oldie but goodie.
You see him prominently in the Sin Games video. We go way, way back. And even though he's never been in leadership, he has been a leader at different points of the Sin's history. And
he's been a constant.
And more so, he's been an incredibly good friend. For someone that I've never met in person, but we will meet in person, and that is a threat. He has been wonderful in the Sin, and for me personally, I have a blast every time I play with him, and it is the whole purpose of playing with friends. He epitomizes to me. He makes me feel exactly what I want to feel every time I play a game. It's just good times. You're trying to have fun. You're not trying to take it too seriously. You can still try to win. Mm-hmm. But so I'll give you a good example. It's recent. It's not a classic example, but we're in Minecraft. And it's a Saturday. And he logs in by saying, "What am I doing here?" which is a good point. When you're logging in on Minecraft
on a Saturday,
something's gone wrong in your life. You need better priorities.
But you don't have a kid.
Yeah. We have an excuse. G doesn't have an excuse.
No, he doesn't.
So anyway, we're playing, and we're just doing stuff, building something. I'm not doing much, and he comes behind me and goes, "Hey, Nuke, look, you want some pot?" And he's holding a pot, like a flower pot. It was just things like that, where it's like you could be in the middle of something and you're working on stuff and you think everybody else is working too, and you realize G had a whole other agenda and he's been working on it and he delivers it so well, and you just start cracking up and you can just tell he's so proud of himself. But it makes it so much worthwhile. A few others. Green Machine. Aside from the fact that he has taught me how to spell the word green wrong, and even when I write green now, I have to double check how many E's I've put in it. Mm-hmm. When he was in leadership, he was hosting events like crazy. He was doing a wonderful job. He drove a lot of cool stuff, and when we were like in Mod Nation, he'd make some awesome tracks. And it was just Green was a really good influence. His life has taken a different turn, where he is now Mr. Mom, and he's got 2 kids, and his wife is keeping him home.
The doctor.
Yes, the doctor keeps him home.
Jealous.
But we see him pop on here and there. But obviously, the involvement right now is not there, but the involvement was there, and it meant a lot, and it helped tremendously in times where we struggled a little bit when some of our stronger leaders had burnt out a bit. And Green was there to pick up the pieces and carry on the torch very strongly. Hug Bombs Not Bears, one of the longest PSN names. He always had a different...
Totally awesome.
He always had a different font size. Like PlayStation 3 had to give him a smaller font to fit his name into most games. He was a character. And he's since moved away from serious gaming, with online with people a lot. He still plays games. You can catch him online sometimes. But Hugs was hilarious. Hugs was unique. Hugs was...
tons of fun.
He was tons of fun, and he again was the penultimate sinner. He's always playing games. He was always picking up games with the clan. I mean, everything, fighting games, racing games, shooting games. He just get into everything with you, support you, play as a strong team member. Hilarious. And so he is missed right now. I'd love to see him come back in some form in any way. But
hang out and play.
Hugs was, again, one of those people that just epitomized to me what I wanted to see in online gaming and the people I wanted to surround myself with. We can't go too far without mentioning Shred and Slash. Now, Shred
Of
came to
course.
us.
A baby.
Well, everyone he always says he's 12, no matter how
Yes.
old he gets, right? He's still 12.
He's been
I think
12.
that's
That's
the
when
joke.
he came
But
and joined our little.
was he really 12 when he came in?
Oh,
I don't
gosh.
know about that.
I don't know. If not, he was pretty dang
See,
close.
I'd have to go back and look.
I remember when he first started with us. He was young enough, and he was like, whenever I would swear, I actually stopped swearing. Believe it or not,
You tried.
I was.
Don't give yourself too much credit here.
Okay, I cut way back on the swear language because like every time I swore, Shred was like, you know, he was young. He was very young.
Yes. I remember, I think you had to tell him to do his schoolwork
Yes.
and not game as much when his grades started going down.
Yes.
You forbid him to play with us until his grades got back up.
Yeah, I pulled the mom hat out on him. I wasn't a mom yet, but I pulled the mom hat out.
He listened to you.
He did?
You were a mom.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Duh.
See, she wants to pretend that she had more time in her life without a kid. But yeah, Shred did. He was one of our bosses early on and owned.
Yes. Well, we
games.
watched what was special. One of the special things with Shred is we watched Shred grow up, through high school into college, and we got to see some of that evolution, which was really really cool, and we played a small part in that evolution, in his development, and I hold that near.
He was
and dear
always
to my
far
heart.
more mature than his age,
Yes.
which is one of the reasons it worked so well in the Syndicate, which was another thing to show how open our community was to different types of people and backgrounds and ages.
And ages,
And as
definitely.
long as you weren't an idiot,
You could come hang out
and,
with us.
and we've accepted some idiots in too, but, but not Shred. So
I like
yeah.
how you had to clarify that.
Someone who would never listen to this video because he doesn't even probably know we still exist, but Black Belt just mentioned that Black Belt was one of our original members and a major force in making the Syndicate strong
In the
enough
early
to
days.
survive through Warhawk.
Yes.
And so he was a major force for me, and so that I definitely this couldn't have happened without him and wouldn't have happened without him. I'd like to just a quick shout out to Zatch and Grim and Kant. In various ways, they have influenced and improved the Syndicate. Not only with maybe some of their leadership, some of their suggestions, some of the issues they've brought up that others were too afraid to bring up, but their personalities and everything. They've meant a lot to me. In the Syndicate, and hopefully I've done well by them over the years. We can't end this without talking about Vamp. Vamp, our most creative and crazy member.
Canadian. The Canadian, yes.
One of the Canadians. So we have a bunch of Canadians.
Our Canadian crew, that's what we like
literally,
to call
the
them.
only war we could have in the Sin would be between Texans and Canadians because they're the groups, right? What is it? The Jets and the Sharks?
Yes.
So that's it.
Jay is probably the only one who's going to get that.
West Side Story, people. Read a book, watch a movie, whatever. So anyway, so that's what we so Vamp was he showed his prowess in Mod Nation with some of the craziest tracks
Yes.
that we'd ever race on, and his creativity and just his vibrance on the forums and creating kind of games on the forums I didn't even think were things that you would do.
Story games,
weird things. So, and the last person I'd like to mention is someone that kind of epitomizes what I hope helps other people and how the Sin has helped other people. So Saint Girl came to us and was not very confident and not as strong socially. And she has now grown into an incredibly strong team member who puts up events and tries to get people involved and tries to get involved in games she normally wouldn't. And it's just really, I feel like, this clan and the people within this clan have helped people like Saint Girl and others who just maybe haven't, had as many friends, especially in the online arena, where it's like you're talking to someone, you've never met them, but you can create a bond and you can feel trust within this group of people, and you can grow as an individual through those experiences.
You have a platform,
and you feel safe
grow with.
to try to expand yourself. You're not going to get ridiculed, and you're not going to get
beat down,
and that you can try to have fun in something that you may not be perfect in, but you don't have to be, because hopefully no one expects that of you, because it's games.
Yep.
It's supposed to be fun. So those are just a few of the people that I wanted to just highlight. And now I'd like to go through the list of people that have at any point in our history existed within the Syndicate.
It's going to be a kind of a long list.
It is.
It's a fairly impressive list.
And so what you're going to see is their clan tags. The most recent version of the different clan tags pop up as I say their names. And if I butcher your names, well, hopefully I won't butcher anybody's name that's still in the... If I butcher somebody's that's not here anymore, who cares? No one will know. There you go. So that's what I got. So here we go. A3000 Cubs fan. Ace 1014. Alter Steve-O. Alvinus Unis. Al's the Dog. Angel of Sorrow. Azus Devil, ASU.
ASU.
I called him Azus for the longest time. I always was mistaken, because it was just like, he's like, it's not Azus. That's the computer nerd in me coming out too much. Balthier, 1856. Bam Bam, 5252. Beezerton. Big Easy 7. Big McLarger Huge.
Bum bum bum.
Shout out to Big. Big Time 2372. Billy Bo Beat Up. Black Ninja 19. Black Wolf 14. Black Belt 66. Bloodlust 2121. Blue Vayner. I love blue. Bobo Ham 123. Bogey Pro. Boost It. Brook Babe. Buffy Ann Summers. Bowie 007 or Bond. Bowie 910 or Zatch. Cabinator. Caesar Johnson. Catchy Meat. CCT MBB. CDR 2615. Celsion. Clear Skies. Cloud Gun Ho. Can't.
Can't what?
Can't and. Carrera 24. D. Juniper. Dago he Dragon? I just call him Dragon. Never actually got his whole name right. That's too bad it's Dragon. That's what I'm sticking with. Dave AAA. DD Rules. Deadly Snake 92. Death 1 Stalker. Death Trooper 13. Denver JX. Digidude 13. Digital Pepsi. Dr. Ponage. Dominus Durandus. Doughboy Jr.? Probably. Drayin. Dr. Pepper 716. Duke Soccer Fan 13. EGL Josh. Eli Daniel.
Or Ellie Daniel.
And I called him Ellie Daniel a long time. He didn't correct me right away, and that was a problem. Eli J. Gamer. Emo Decimator. E-Wolf 3363. Explicit. Fantastic Boss. Also known as Orlandon, also known as Fourth Landon, also the one who made the amazing intro music you hear at the beginning of this video and on every podcast we made in the Syndicate.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful man. Flint Town Ninja. Flood This Biff. Fort Niner Fan. We won't talk about his taste in football teams, but otherwise he's okay. Frank the Tank. Freaking genius! Freddie No Limit. Grr.
Grr.
Or double G double R. GLP!
For the win.
215. Godzilla Guy. Gorthak. Gothic Gamer. Grey Ghost 45. Green Machin. Grim Slayer 12. Grim G. Harry Ashel. Hockey Dude 55. Honk 31. Hug Bombs Not Bears. Hulk Smash 5150. I Stays Frosty. I Am Cool 388. iPod Addict 42. Itty Bitty.
Who's that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Hacker.
Yep, must be.
Joe Nobody. Jake Merks. Javier BC. Jenny X1. Jester 4488. Jesterware. Jew-ish. Jezen. Jimmy Tots. Jimmy No! Jay Mackland. JPen 419. Jude McFucking Dude 7. J Venom 1. Chaos Eternal. Kazooie Car. Kenny 562. Kid Kosher. Killa Ace 1194. Killa Greens. Killer Ninja 35. A lot of killers.
Mm-hmm.
King Miami. Laser Shark. LCPD Armbreaker. Lil Spikes 007. Lord Oh the Dance. Lucre. Mantis Bugs. MB Miles 22. MDMA Commando. Minoj. Moo Man Men. Moon Looped 1. Mogzilla 222. Mozilla 54. Mr. Pickles. Mullets Rule. Musty Suffer. Mystic Joker 323. Special shout out to Joker.
And his ice cream truck.
Mm-hmm. Nerdy Gamer. Nikki 2918. Ninja Ducky. Or Frank. Weirdest nickname ever. Nuke Warm. Oh.
Loser. Oh.
And vice versa. Ogre T1. Or Landon. Just one more time since he did the name change. Phelan. Phoenix Flame 91. Pillow. Pokeon. Pondo 22. Potentiometer 13. Prime Synergy. Prodiger. Pure Reflex. Ratchet Rules. Raz Al Ghul. Raz EX09. RXPD. RXDP, sorry. Oh, too many names. Saganesti 1. Saharis. Saint Girl. Saint Pig. Scott the Kitsune. 70x7. Sharks. Shadowed Chaos. Shred and Slash. Silent Killer 85. Silent Shadow 360. Skills Pure. Sonic 42. Spartan. Spees 1. Spooky 42069. SR2 ODE. Stands Tough. Starchild 1527. Storm Treader 11. Striker 42. Super 61. Swamp Rat 69. Sweaters 747. Tank Hides. TJ Edson. The One Tank. Tenacious. Terrorist NL. Texan Roadkill. Tex Pizzone. Thorax. The X Factor 9. The Flutter Rambo. Probably naked right now. The Guy 45. The Executioner SS. Thumpers 92. Tiger 7758. TM the Assassin. T-Ra. TX80. Uberkitten 45. USC Punk 88. USMC Vampires. Vamp of Destiny. Woo Pack. Warkiller 31. Webslinger 26. Wingman 047. Woody 1. WV Maverick 87. Semper Fi. Killa Assassin. Harryson. Joker's original name. Yeska. Your Burnt Toast. Zanzan Piece. Zalkas. And Zero Wolf V7. That's 202 members of the Syndicate. Old and young. Past and present.
A lot of names.
That's a lot of names.
A lot of good times.
A lot of good times. Absolutely. So that's hopefully nearly everybody. That's a lot of people.
Yes.
So yeah. The Syndicate will end the end of this month. We're moving on to Crackball. We're hoping everybody comes with. But if not, this is the best I could do as a farewell that was meaningful. I didn't want to make a big, hugely edited video and everything, because the Syndicate was never about that. It was about who was in the Syndicate. The Syndicate has always been about the people, what we do, how we play, how we interact with each other, how we support each other. And I hope that continues in a more positive realm going forward. And I can tell you that the Syndicate was as I said before, my gaming utopia for 8 years. And I'm happy to let it go where it is now and move on to something else. And just give it a fond farewell. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everyone for everything they've ever done. All the things you've ever done to support the Syndicate. There's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on all sides. A lot of exhausting nights, a lot of ruminating, rethinking, reimagining, remaking the entire thing.
Searching of thesauruses.
Oh, lots of thesaurus searches trying to find other words that meant other words that sounded cooler than the words I had thought up. But yeah, I kept it going, and I did it all for everybody, not just for me anymore. It was a long time where I just did it because I wanted everybody to have a great place to play. And I want to thank you for making it a great place to play. So for the last time, as a leader, as a Don of the Sin, the Syndicate, and the Rogue Syndicate, this is Nuke Warm signing out.